In 2007, scientists did something remarkable. They took tiny creatures, launched them into space, exposed them to the vacuum of the cosmos and radiation 700 times stronger than the sun's rays on Earth, and brought them back alive. Not only were they alive, but they mated and laid eggs that hatched normally. In 2016, researchers revived a microscopic animal that had been frozen solid for 30 years. It came back to life like nothing had happened. And there's a jellyfish that can literally reverse its own aging process when injured, transforming from an adult back into a juvenile and starting its life cycle over. Again. And again. Potentially forever. These aren't science fiction. These are real animals living on Earth right now. They can survive conditions that would instantly kill humans. They've mastered extreme temperatures, crushing pressures, deadly radiation, and even the vacuum of space. Today, we're exploring the most indestructible animals on planet Earth. Creatures that challenge everything we thought we knew about survival. Section 1. The ultimate survivor tardigrade. Let's start with the champion, the tardigrade, also known as the water bear or moss piglet. Tardigrades are microscopic animals measuring just over 1 millimeter. So tiny you need a microscope to see them. They have 8 stumpy legs, each ending in claws, and they waddle around like tiny bears. But don't let their adorable appearance fool you. Tardigrades are among the most resilient animals known to science. Here's what they can survive. Extreme temperatures, as cold as -180 degrees Celsius for 14 days. As hot as 151 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. That's colder than any place on Earth and hotter than boiling water. Radiation. They can withstand 5,000 gray units of gamma radiation. Where 5 to 10 gray kills humans, tardigrades shrug off radiation levels that would turn us into incredible hulks. Literally, that's the radiation type in Marvel Comics. Pressure. 6 times the pressure found in the deepest ocean trenches. The vacuum of space. In 2007, 2 species of tardigrades were sent into orbit on the Photon M3 mission. They survived 10 days exposed to space vacuum and solar radiation. 1/3 returned to Earth alive. About 10% lived long enough to mate and lay eggs that hatched normally. Dehydration. They can be in a frozen state for 30 years and potentially up to 100 years. How is this possible? When conditions become life-threatening, tardigrades enter a state called cryptobiosis, literally, hidden life. The tardigrade curls into itself, retracts its 8 legs and head, and sheds more than 95% of the water in its body. It shrivels into a dried-out blob called a tun, named for its resemblance to a beer barrel. In this state, the tardigrade's metabolism slows to less than 0.01% of normal activity. It's not quite dead, but it's not quite alive either. It's waiting. Recent research in 2024 finally revealed how they do it. When stressed, tardigrades produce free radicals that trigger a molecular switch involving the amino acid cysteine. This switch activates the tun state, a kind of molecular off button for life. The tardigrade also produces a sugar that replaces the lost water, protecting internal structures from damage. And they have a special protein called DSUP, damage suppressor, that binds to DNA and protects it from radiation. Just add water, and these barrels transform back into active bears within hours. In one experiment, dried moss that had been in a museum for 120 years was moistened. Tardigrades inside briefly showed signs of life before finally dying. They had survived over a century in suspended animation. Tardigrades have been on Earth for about 600 million years, 400 million years before dinosaurs. They're found everywhere: mountaintops, deep oceans, tropical rainforests, volcanoes, Antarctica's McMurdo valleys, and probably in the moss in your backyard. Section 2. The immortal one, Turritopsis dohrnii. Now let's talk about the jellyfish that found the secret to immortality. Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish, is a tiny translucent creature measuring about 4.5 millimeters, smaller than your pinky fingernail. Most jellyfish follow a simple life cycle. Eggs and sperm are released and fertilized, creating free-swimming larvae. The larvae settle on the seafloor and grow into blob-like polyps. These polyps then bud off and mature into adult jellyfish called medusae. The medusae reproduce and die. That's usually the end. But when Turritopsis dohrnii faces physical damage, starvation, or environmental stress, it does something extraordinary. It reverses the process. The adult jellyfish sinks to the seafloor. It reabsorbs its tentacles and loses the ability to swim. Over 24 to 36 hours, it transforms back into a polyp, the blob-like stage from earlier in its life cycle. This polyp then matures again and buds off new medusae that are genetically identical to the original jellyfish. It's like a butterfly transforming back into a caterpillar, then metamorphosing into a butterfly again. The process is called transdifferentiation, one of the rarest phenomena in biology. Adult cells that are specialized for one purpose completely transform into different types of specialized cells. The jellyfish essentially rewrites its cellular identity. And here's the kicker: this process can be repeated indefinitely. First described by scientists in the 1880s, the immortal jellyfish's true capabilities weren't understood until the 1990s. Student scientists Christian Summer and Giorgio Bavestrello discovered the immortality through lab experiments. In captivity, researcher Shin Kubota from Kyoto University reported that his colony rebirthed itself 11 times over 2 years. So can they actually live forever? Biologically, yes. But practically, no. The immortal jellyfish is tiny, translucent, and easily eaten by fish, sea turtles, sea slugs, crustaceans, penguins, and even larger jellyfish. Most die to predation or disease long before they can reverse their aging. Still, researchers believe the immortal jellyfish originated in the Mediterranean Sea but are now found worldwide: coasts of Panama, Florida's Indian River Lagoon, Japan. They hitch rides in ship ballast water, and their regenerative abilities keep them alive during ocean crossings. Scientists are studying these jellyfish for insights into stem cell research and aging. If we could understand how they reset their cellular clocks, we might unlock new treatments for age-related diseases. But even beyond medical applications, the immortal jellyfish poses philosophical questions. If all of an organism's cells are replaced but perfectly duplicated, is it technically the same individual? Section 3. The Radiation King Cockroach. Let's talk about the creature everyone loves to hate, the cockroach. Cockroaches have been around since the time of dinosaurs, surviving multiple mass extinction events. And they're built to survive a nuclear apocalypse. Cockroaches can withstand radiation levels up to 15 times higher than humans. While 5 to 10 gray of radiation kills humans, cockroaches can survive 150 gray. This makes them potential survivors of nuclear fallout, a fact that's become part of popular culture. But radiation resistance is just the beginning. Cockroaches can live for weeks without food and survive for a week without their heads. How? They have a simple, decentralized nervous system and breathe through small holes called spiracles in their body segments, not through their mouths. They only die eventually because they can't drink water. They can hold their breath for 40 minutes, survive being submerged underwater for 30 minutes, and withstand being squashed with forces over 900 times their body weight. Their secret? A simple nervous system, slow metabolism, and an incredibly flexible exoskeleton that allows them to squeeze through spaces as thin as a quarter of their body height. Cockroaches adapt quickly to their environment and can develop resistance to pesticides within 1 generation. They're found on every continent except Antarctica, thriving in sewers, homes, forests, and even caves. Section 4. The Honorable mentions the Arctic tern extreme migration. The Arctic tern holds the record for the longest migration of any animal on Earth, approximately 71,000 kilometers annually. These resilient birds travel from their breeding grounds in the Arctic to their wintering grounds in Antarctica and back, navigating across oceans and continents. They experience 2 summers each year, more daylight than any other creature. This remarkable endurance showcases navigation skills and adaptation to extreme environmental conditions from both poles. The camel desert survival. Camels, often called ships of the desert, can survive without water for weeks by storing fat in their humps, which converts to water when needed. They can withstand extreme heat and regulate their body temperature to minimize water loss. When they finally do drink, camels can consume 100 liters in just 10 minutes. The Greenland shark living history. Greenland sharks inhabit the frigid deep waters of the Arctic and North Atlantic Oceans, and they live for approximately 400 years. Radiocarbon dating on their eye lenses found living sharks that could have been alive during Shakespeare's time. In the frigid depths, their cold-blooded metabolism slows dramatically, contributing to their extraordinary lifespan. Nematode worms the challenger. While tardigrades get most of the attention, nematode worms are serious contenders for most indestructible animal. Ecologist Dr. Diego Fontenetto explains that nematodes survive desiccation and freezing as much as tardigrades, if not even better. The nematode Tylinchus polyhypnus holds the record for survival in a dehydrated state at 39 years. Some scientists believe nematodes may actually be more resilient than tardigrades. The debate continues. From the microscopic tardigrades that survive the vacuum of space to the jellyfish that cheats death by reversing its own aging, from cockroaches built to survive nuclear war to Arctic terns that migrate 44,000 miles annually, these animals redefine what's possible. They've survived conditions that would kill humans instantly. They've mastered extreme temperatures from -180 degrees to 151 degrees. They've withstood crushing pressures, deadly radiation, total dehydration, and even the void of space. What makes them indestructible isn't brute strength or size. It's adaptation. Molecular switches. Cellular transformation. Metabolic shutdown. The ability to essentially pause life and wait for better conditions. These creatures have been perfecting their survival strategies for hundreds of millions of years. Tardigrades existed 400 million years before dinosaurs. Cockroaches survived the asteroid that wiped out those dinosaurs. Jellyfish have been drifting through oceans since before the age of reptiles. They're teaching us that life is far more resilient than we ever imagined. And they're showing scientists new possibilities for preserving cells, understanding aging, surviving space travel, and perhaps one day extending human life. The tardigrade that survived 30 years frozen and came back to life. The jellyfish that resets its biological clock when threatened. The cockroach that will likely outlive us all. These are Earth's ultimate survivors. And they're reminding us, life finds a way. Which indestructible animal amazed you most? Did you know tardigrades survived in space? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more mind-blowing animal facts, subscribe.